What happens when the champion of thunder and lightning, the hammer-wielding guardian of the gods, wakes up without his legendary weapon? Imagine a world where the only barrier keeping chaos at bay vanishes overnight. How far would the gods go to restore the balance? This tale begins with a question that once resounded through Asgard. What would Thor sacrifice to get back Mjölnir? The hammer Mjölnir was more than a weapon. In Norse belief, it consecrated marriages, protected the cosmos against giants and blessed births and funerals. Without it, the fortress of the gods felt exposed to the forces of chaos. When Thor opened his eyes one morning and reached out for cold iron and found only emptiness, the foundations of Asgard trembled. His beard bristled and his rage shook the earth. The Thunder God stormed through the halls of the gods, demanding to know who had dared to steal the sacred weapon. Not finding answers, it turned to the wiliest of companions. There was one deity who could match trickery with the giants: Loki. Thor's suspicions often started with Loki, yet in crises he relied on the shapeshifter's wits. Loki advised that the thief was likely not a mortal or elf, but one of the giants who lived beyond the walls of the gods. To find the culprit quickly, they needed to fly. They appealed to the radiant goddess Freyja, asking to borrow her magical falcon cloak. Freyja agreed, for the hammer's loss endangered her world as much as theirs. Wrapped in the cloak, Loki became a bird of prey. His feathers flashed in the sun as he crossed the seas and mountains, leaving the ordered realm of Asgard for the wild domain of Jotunheim. There he found the giant Thrym sitting on a mound weaving golden chains for his dogs. When Loki questioned him, Thrym boasted that he had indeed hidden the Thunder God's hammer deep beneath the earth. The giant's price for its return was Freyja's hand in marriage. No hammer would reappear unless the most desirable of goddesses was brought to his hall as a bride. Loki hastened back to Asgard. Thor listened impatiently to the news and marched straight to Freyja's halls. He demanded that she take on the bridal veil and marry the giant for the sake of the hammer. Freyja's fury cracked her necklace of precious beads and shook the hall itself. She declared she would rather throw herself into the sea than become Thrym's wife. The gods gathered to debate. Without Mjölnir, they could not defend their cosmic enclosure. Some suggested war, others called for negotiation. It was Heimdall, the ever-watchful god who could hear grass grow, who proposed the daring solution. Thor himself should disguise as Freyja and travel to Jotunheim as the bride. Thor balked. The idea of wearing women's clothing was humiliating for the most masculine of gods. The thought of the other gods laughing behind his back stung him more than any giant spear. Yet the alternative was letting giants overrun Asgard. Loki, always willing to invert norms, reminded him that honor meant nothing if one's home was lost. Thor's bluster finally yielded to necessity. He would put on the bridal veil if Loki agreed to play his maid. The goddesses prepared Thor for his role. They draped him in a flowing gown embroidered with gems and flowers. Around his neck, they clasped Freyja's famed necklace. The Brisingamen, keys, symbols of household authority, jingled at his waist. A heavy veil concealed his red beard and fiery eyes, and a bridal headdress crowned his head. The transformation was deliberately overdone, both to amuse and to convince. Loki donned a maiden's dress and placed a bonnet on his head, ready to act as the ever-cheerful attendant. Thus attired, the thunder god climbed aboard his goat-drawn chariot with Loki by his side. As they rode across the Bifrost bridge and into the wilderness, mountains shook and the land smoked. The sight of a hulking bride causing earthquakes must have been a sight to behold. Yet the ruse depended on theatrics. They needed to fool not only Thrym, but his whole household until the right moment. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story and want more epic Norse myths like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support the content and lets me know you want to see more stories just like this. Now, let's get back to the tale. Thrym greeted his bride with glee. He ordered benches and tables laden with food, announcing that he had treasure and livestock in abundance and now only needed Freyja to complete his happiness. Giants cheered and the feast began. Thor, hidden beneath layers of fabric, tried to remember that brides were supposed to nibble. But his appetite was legendary. He devoured an entire ox, ate salmon, and all of the dainty dishes prepared for the women. He drained barrel after barrel of mead. Thrym watched, his jaw slack. He declared that he had never seen a woman eat or drink with such gusto. Loki, always quick with a story, whispered that Freyja had fasted for 8 days out of excitement for her wedding and was simply hungry. The giant accepted the explanation, perhaps flattered that his bride had been lovesick for him. When Thrym leaned in to steal a kiss, he recoiled. Beneath the veil, 2 eyes blazed like lightning. He exclaimed that he had never seen a maiden with such terrifying eyes. Loki leaned in and whispered that she had not slept for 8 nights because of her longing to meet him. Again, Thrym smiled. The deception held, at least for the moment. After the feasting came the formal ceremony. To sanctify the union, the giants called for Mjölnir to be brought from its hidden vault. According to ancient custom, the hammer would be laid in the bride's lap to bless the marriage. A giantess retrieved the weapon effortlessly and placed it across Thor's knees. Beneath his veil, the thunder god's heart leapt with joy. The object that embodied his strength and the order of the universe was once more within reach. In a surge of power, Thor threw off the bridal veil and ripped away the gown. His muscular arms rose, clasping the hammer. Shocked giants stared as the bride turned into the fearsome god of thunder. With a roar, he swung Mjölnir. Thrym fell first, his skull shattered. Then Thor turned on the wedding guests, striking down giants and trolls alike. Tables split, bread and mead flew, and the festive hall became a battlefield. The giantess, who had asked for wedding gifts, received a blow from the hammer instead. Soon every enemy lay dead. With the hammer restored, Thor and Loki returned to Asgard. The gods roared with laughter over the tale of the bearded bride who had fooled a hall of giants and turned a wedding feast into a massacre. Thor discarded the bridal garments and once more strapped on his belt of strength and iron gauntlets. For a short while, Asgard had avoided catastrophe by embracing deception and humor.